left you outside Jesse Brown's office.
Yes, he did.
All right. So you knock on the door. You just walk in.
We would.
As a paladin, I knock on the door.
I mean, Guy just walks through the door, so
You
it's probably
dick.
good to knock if Guy just kind of like pushes the door.
Okay. Inside you see basically what looks like a small town western like sheriff's office and jail cell set up. There is a desk, a separate room that you probably assume is like a latrine, and like a cell.
I thought you were going to say the separate room was the cell, but then you said latrine, and now I'm thinking it could be the same if they're mean enough.
Yeah. We lock you in the stank pit.
The whole town comes here, takes a piss on you.
It's a shitting cell.
Oh, God.
Is the sheriff in the building?
Yeah, she's she's
good.
sat behind the desk.
She's not in the shit pit right now.
No, she is not.
I would.
She's sat behind the desk filling out some paperwork. There is a man in the lone cell of this building lying on the bed with like his hand over his face.
Mhm.
And the shitting room don't smell particular bad right now.
Oh, that's good.
Okay,
They got poopery.
before going to the sheriff, I cast the spell Prestigitation to make the area there much more nicer to the senses.
Okay, so you cast Blade Air Freshener.
I cast Prestidigitation. Pulls out Glade bottle. Or Febreze. Magic.
Okay, I speak to the sheriff. We are from the Stonewell company. Norman said that you have some special job for us.
Yeah, like as you come in, she starts to look up to you and she says, "If you're here for the you're Norman sent you.
Yes.
What can I do for you?"
Well, we'd like to have more information about all that happened. We know that some people gone missing, but we need more details.
Speaking of details, can I get a fizz of Jesse?
Like a description?
Yes.
Okay. Shut up, Joseph.
Not against my code.
Jesse Brown is a human woman in probably early mid-20s. She has shoulder-length blonde hair that is pulled back into a ponytail.
Shit.
All right.
Moving on.
She's blonde.
Continue.
Blue eyes and a fair complexion. She has probably a fair amount of suntan, and she's wearing a long leather coat and like dark brown black breeches.
Cool.
Those are pants, right? Those.
Yes.
Yes.
You got it. Don't worry.
She's just wearing underwear.
She's walking around in her panties. It's my day off.
Y'all can fuck off if you like it.
Victor would continue the conversation. We are here for the job. Me and my associate, we have some questions for you to answer so we can begin doing the job as soon as possible.
All right. What in particular would you like to know? I can tell you probably all the same stuff Norman would have told you from when I sent him my letter.
Okay.
I assume you have a better grasp on who went missing, when, and where.
Yeah.
You guys want a list of 12 names?
12 people, okay. 12 people. And when they started disappearing.
Okay. So it's probably been about 2 weeks now. People have been disappearing almost every night, and especially near the West Woods. You may have seen it on the way in, and I'll mention this out of character. On the way in to town, anyone who was watching the scenery sort of breeze past.
Okay.
You did pass a large estate house on the way into town. From you were traveling northeast, so it would have been west of the town.
Okay. Have you tried to investigate on your own before calling Norman?
Well, we've organized a couple search parties into the woods, but we ain't been able to find anybody. There's been no signs of struggle. There's no blood. It's just like people are up and vanishing out of thin air.
Could I, using my knowledge, could I think compulsion magic was potentially used in this situation?
Okay, I'll give you, because of your background as an enchanter, you definitely know that enchantment or compulsion magic would allow someone to basically abduct a person, making it look like there was no struggle.
Okay.
I would mention a possible enchanter or a possible enchantress is behind this.
Okay.
Is
Another.
magic involved?
Aiden's putting some shit together in his head. I got a question, he says. Do we have any idea what times of day this happened?
I probably usually let it into the evening as the sun was going down. People usually don't disappear, in broad daylight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did they disappear from their homes or only when they were outside? In any of those cases that they disappeared, did anyone see them just before they disappeared?
So you know already that all of the victims were, most, like basically all of the victims were blonde women.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's been sort of a mixture of both. People have both disappeared from their homes and whilst leaving their homes to go other places.
I would ask these missing people, did they have anything in common between all of them? I'm just figuring out leads potentially.
Except for appearance?
Outside of appearance, no, not particular. We lost Annabelle Greenery from the mill just last 2 nights ago.
Okay. Aiden, for the most part, is content to just kind of hang back and let everyone else question, and he waits for something to kill, right up until the point that Layla gives him another smack in the back of the head, because part of his faith, he's got to try to take the lead. Mm-hmm. So, with a grumble, he asks, was Annabelle the most recent one to go missing?
No, she was.
And it was 2 nights ago.
And I find that probably the most disturbing appearance so far. Annabelle was a fighter. She worked at the mill for all her life. She wasn't a weak girl.
Well, if that's all the details you got, I guess that's where I'm going to start looking.
Yeah. One more question. Does this phenotype, blonde woman, is common in this area, or are they minority? Basically, is there are many more possible targets?
Maybe like a half dozen.
I've got an idea.
Yeah, I'm figuring if they're the minority or very few, these people are being targeted because there's something interesting or unique about them. Possible stalker kidnapping them probably.
Yeah, but also if there's only half a dozen of them left, then we may be able to provide some protection.
As Aiden's going to leave, another smack in the back of the head, and he kind of grumbles and turns to Jessie and asks if she's doing anything to protect herself.
Well, I don't rightly think I necessarily need protecting, sir. That's liable.
Protecting yourself.
Well, you have
fit the description.
Not gentlemanly of you, but I do all right by my.
You have just said that the last victim was a fighter.
Mm-hmm. She when she mentioned she doesn't need protecting. Like you said, Aiden is like a pretty handsome, very muscular blonde man.
Yeah, like farmer boy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's her type.
Sweet.
she blushes a little and does that hip twisty thing, but I don't know how to describe it.
No, I got you.
But I don't need no protecting. And she gestures to a worn but obviously well cared for longsword that hangs from her hip. As well as behind her there is, she doesn't gesture to this specifically, but you notice it, there is a a longbow that rests unstrung on like a set of struts behind her.
Fair enough. All right then. Just keep safe, and we'll be back later.
I would ask Jesse, does this town have any records, such as a town hall or something, which we could look through the records?
Most of the town records used to be kept by the mayor, but he's been. There's a funny thing about the mayor. Some of the more recent town records have been kept in the town library, but a lot of them still haven't been retrieved from the mayor's personal estate.
Really?
Oh, we should investigate those records. Maybe we can learn something from there.
I'm not sure what you'd want with them.
No?
I don't think they have to do anything to do with these disappearances.
Unless we need something. Out of curiosity, this guy, I'm pointing at the prisoner, who is he?
Oh, that's Charlie. He's and she sort of leans in with her hand against the outside of her mouth. He's a town drunk.
I see.
He rolls over in his bed and he's he's clearly very hungover. He came in last night screaming about some I don't know, some tomfoolery out in the edge of town.
What exactly?
Sorry, what was he screaming about? I didn't hear it.
I don't know. This ain't the first time he's come in with this sort of story. You'd do better to ask him yourself.
I'm not comfortable asking a drunk what he saw. Would you please tell us at least what you heard?
I will fucking go talk to Charlie. I don't give a shit.
Well,
I'm going
she
to
tells Guy, it was something about, I don't know, black shadows in the trees. There's an old folk story about a couple of kids that went missing some 16 years ago, and it comes up every couple of years, but never been anything of it. People haven't gone missing in 16 years.
Oh, they are going missing now.
Real quick, out of curiosity, out of character, real quick, getting drunk, what kind of status effect would that count as?
What do you mean, mechanically?
Yeah.
It would be
if we want to go with I can't remember, doesn't Pathfinder, it's a penalty to hit and a bonus to Constitution.
Okay. I was more wondering because I was going to make a joke about how Aiden misses getting drunk, but then I realized he probably still can. The divine health probably doesn't affect that.
You're immune to disease, not poison.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. It counts as poison.
So let's see what Charlie can tell us about these shadows.
All right. So Aiden wants to talk to Charlie.
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
See why not?
All right. So you're walking up to the jail cell. What do you say to him?
Aiden, even though he does kind of strike an imposing figure, just kind of leans on the bars with one hand and says, "Hey, Charlie, how you doing, buddy?"
Oh, what do you want? Ain't it bad enough I'm locked in this cell?
Yeah, well, it's just a drunk tank. You'll get out soon enough. Just had a question. What did you see last night?
Last night?
Yep.
Oh, shit. I saw a whole lot of things. And then it all sort of comes back to him at once.
Okay.
Exactly like the worst part of last night, sort of.
Oh,
Oh God. Yeah. I must have been out on the west edge of town. Oh shit.
West side of town. That's where most of the people were missing. Went missing.
Well, they've been going missing all over, but there's a lot of rivers towards the forests in the west end of town.
Mm-hmm.
Is sort of what you're getting out of this conversation.
Yep.
Now, I was halfway home, or I thought I was halfway home, and I started. I could have sworn I saw someone in the trees, and I figured it was old Burns playing a trick on me. But when I called him, he didn't say nothing. Old Burnsy, you can't keep a straight face when you call him on his pranks. And that's when I started to get, a little upset. And I said, "Oh, Burns, you better get out of those damn trees or I'm going to bust your face up." I told him that.
As one does, yes.
and the shape just disappeared, and I couldn't find him. And I said, Burnsy, you better come out of those trees. You're going to get lost like you did last summer. I went into the trees after him, and I couldn't find him nowhere, and I saw this dark shape again, and I said, oh, Burns, I ain't playing now. And then another shape showed up, and then another, and then a fourth, and it weren't no Burns out in them trees.
No,
And I ran. I ran as fast as I could back on the road, back into town. Thank God, I could have sworn I kept seeing shapes in the trees, and that's when Jessie found me, and I tried to tell her, and she weren't having none of it. And he's starting to get more and more panicked as he's recounting this story to you. Like more and more of it is just coming back to him as he's trying to remember it to tell it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't. I couldn't. She wouldn't believe me, you know. I mean, that's not totally unfeasible, you know. It's not the first time I've been arrested for drunken disorderly, I got so riled up that make me the perception check real quick. I got so riled up. I don't remember what happened next.
I dropped that. What does that roll? That is a 12 plus...
Plus -2?
Nope, perception is 1, so 13.
Oh, okay. It doesn't require very high perception.
Okay.
But it's just now as his hand sort of moves away from his face, you notice a prodigiously black eye on Charlie's face, as well as a swollen upper lip.
So he was saying how... Okay, right before this, he was saying he got riled up and Jessie was having none of it, and da-da-da-da-da.
And I'll allow the rest of you, because I know what your passive perceptions are like. Victor and Guy and Helyon, and actually probably even Magnus, you recognize the sort of, as you're hearing this story be recounted to Aiden, the telltale signs of redness around Jessie's knuckles.
Well, Aiden kind of looks at this and asks, "Did you get in a fight last night there, Charlie?"
I don't know if I'd call it a fight.
Did you get your ass kicked, Charlie?
I don't know if I'd call it an ass kicking.
Max is gonna roll
kick
an
someone's
intimidate,
ass?
so Magnus is gonna just slam his hammer. Not enough to trigger the spell storing into the bars, but just like
That would be a little...
I don't want to go that crazy, but we are gonna roll. It's an abysmal 11, but
Your total intimidate check?
2 + 9 is 11. Yes.
Ooh.
Jeez.
Now, boom.
You know what? I'll give it to you. Charlie's pretty riled up, and he ain't particularly brave to begin with. What? All right, I got scared, and I ran up on Jessie, and I might have been blabbering a bit, and maybe she shut me up.
All right.
I'm gonna
So it
look
was a
back
bit of
at
an ass
Jessie
kicking.
and I'm gonna nod, and then look back at the drunk guy.
Okay, the area where the creatures were mentioned. What will would going to the records to know more about the region, uncover more about the region history? What this could be? Yeah.
Certainly, yeah, you could certainly go there and look it up if you wanted.
Okay, so who want to accompany me to the records so we could learn something about what is going on?
Sorry, I would want to ask one more question to the sheriff at the moment, because you mentioned that this old manor by the road.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Can Jessie tell us?
What, the estate house by the road?
Yes.
Oh, that's the old mayor's house. I mean, it's inherited between mayors, right? But Roderick, the last mayor, he'd been mayor for a good pretty sure he must have been almost 30 years. He'd been mayor of this town. So it's pretty much, his house. We ain't elected a mayor since he disappeared about probably 3.5 years ago.
You don't have a mayor right now?
Not right now, no.
Interesting. That was He disappeared 3 years ago. Anything strange about that? What happened?
Well, no more strange than the disappearances that are happening now. Well, I suppose it was sort of tragic what happened. His wife died maybe about 6 months before he disappeared himself. They had, I don't know, they'd always been such a beautiful couple. He really loved her, but well, something happened and she passed away. And, he was never quite the same after that.
His wife, was she a blonde? Was she a blonde?
If I remember correctly, she might have been.
Oh.
Before I go, real quick to Charlie, was there anything else you had to mention?
Outside of being drunk on the edge of town and getting his ass kicked by the sheriff, no.
Correct. No. Okay. Well, thank you for your time, Charlie. Enjoy your nap.
Yeah, I would tip my gentleman hat to Charlie and go off to the records area to learn more about the region. What I could probably connect the dots was causing this.
Okay. So, anybody who's doing research, give me 3 of the same knowledge check of your choosing. Anybody who is not doing knowledge checks, what are you doing?
I would like to go to the west and look for some tracks. Just look around.
Yeah, Magnus is just going to start walking straight west.
I'm going to do knowledge arcana to figure out. This is definitely some incorporeal creature. So would that be religion for creatures like that, or arcana?
The knowledge check is up to you. I'll allow, whatever you want to roll.
Okay, knowledge arcana.
I'll give you information related to that knowledge check. Okay, so Magnus and who? Guy?
He hasn't decided yet.
Okay, who's walking west?
Me?
Elion and Magnus. Okay, so Elion and Magnus start heading out the west road away from town, up this way.
Yeah, to take a look.
Waiting or standing in the office for a couple seconds, he is going to look through his cosmic mind of trying to find something that's description of a planar being that would, I guess, sated by sacrifices of blonde-haired women.
There are. I'm assuming you're referring specifically to dark otherworldly powers.
Yes.
Okay, there are, in your personal experience, a number of different entities you could make a sacrifice of a soul to, but nothing strikes your mind as being so particular as to want blonde women.
Real quick, as far as I know, Guy, Magnus, and Helyon all went the same direction.
Well, yeah, I've left. I'm trying to find some traces, maybe either traces of some things that aren't human and but are present around town, or maybe tracks of people that could have gone missing. That can be the tracks of the people.
Well, here's why I'm asking. Which way is the mill?
Okay, so I'm gonna get to Donald really quick, and then okay.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Donald, what do you want to know?
I'm figuring out the shadow creatures. So what type of magic was used to potentially cause this? Is it natural? Is it not natural? Johnny, what is the cause of this? I want to know with the Arcana roll.
These shadow creatures?
Yeah.
As far as there's magic that can make shadow duplicates of creatures, but from what you heard described, you're fairly certain this was not a spell. This was not a magical effect.
So these are shades like creatures. So we are dealing with undead or the supernatural, I would assume.
You can make a fair inference of that based upon your research.
Cool. I would eventually go back to the rest of the group with my findings.
Okay. So to Aiden and Magnus,
The mill's out west?
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
what it was?
The
Okay.
mill is off like a little farther north from the Western Road. So
I was going to say, Aiden wants to investigate the mill, but his perception ain't that great, so he's probably just going to, like,
Guy would
palm the head of the ranger and take him along.
That's fine.
So it's with Helyon, Magnus, and Aiden headed out west. As far as tracks go, unfortunately, the mill is out to the sort of the west and north of the town. So a lot of tracks come this way out of town.
Okay, so
This is the major industry of the town. You're sort of surrounded by forest on all sides. So
I see.
a lot of the trade in this town centers around this mill.
Okay, so impossible to find any specific. Okay.
As you're walking out towards town, there are some tracks that like lead off in other directions. Some of them follow the west road. Some of them follow north, not necessarily congruent with the majority of the tracks. But it's without following them, it's difficult to tell whether those tracks are incidental or not.
I see. Okay. Let's check the mill first.
Okay.
Yeah. Start with the mill, and I'm going to guess my Hitler sonar is not going to pick up anything.
Your Hitler sonar? No, not so far. It has
Okay,
not.
cool.
Well, by the way, what time of day is it? I believe we've arrived.
Yes, sorry. I meant to mention this before. When you arrived, it was probably about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It's been about an hour or so. You know, you were
Okay.
talking to the sheriff for a little while.
What time of year
It
is it?
is.
What time of year is it?
I was just getting to that.
Oh, good.
I meant to mention this before. It is the middle of winter.
Oh,
Okay, then Victor would be wearing more practical, fashionable gentleman garment.
You're level 5. You're gentlemanly clothes enchanted again. Your
Hello?
petticoat of endurance.
Just wearing a petticoat.
Swaggy coat.
Yes, Victor only wear the best possible clothing in the world.
It's too bad
Well.
he's accompanied by guys who probably smell like armor sweat.
Yep.
Well, that is
Well,
why
you win some, you lose some, man.
this is why Victor always had the spell prestidigitation ready to make sure his company doesn't smell.
He magics some speed stick on the both of you.
I still want prestidigitation to just be the brand of air freshener he's carrying around.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys
So-
get up to the mill.
Yep.
yeah.
So who all? You finished your research up, Victor.
I would
Um,
assume I would accompany them or would see them from the distance and catch up with them.
All right. Is Guy acting independently right now, or
Guy's going with the. He'll go.
Okay. Okay? So a lot of you are walking west of the town, a little north towards the sawmill. Sawmill doesn't have a particular name. It's the only sawmill here, so it's just the sawmill.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when you get there, I'm assuming, are you looking for someone in particular, or?
The sawmill owner, I believe. She, the missing woman was a wife of the miller, or she was the miller.
No, she worked at the mill.
Oh, okay. So looking for the owner to basically to ask him some questions.
Mhm.
When it was noticed that she disappeared, where she was supposed to be,
Okay.
and
so
where
you-
and where she was seen last.
Okay. So you do a little asking around at the mill, and you get a hold of the foreman's name. His name is Brody Broadshoulders,
Nice.
and he's just coming out of his office as you come around to the main part of the mill. There's it's a sawmill. There's a bunch of different circular saws and reciprocating devices going right now.
Yeah.
And it's fairly loud. It's the sound of processing wood. You get a hold of Brody Broadshoulders, and Brody Broadshoulders is a probably about a 6'3" broad-shouldered brunette man in his early 30s. He's got a very thick, short-trimmed beard and like heavy woolen clothing.
Okay.
He looks like your he's a man's man.
Okay.
A man's brunette man.
A man's man.
No, so is he the manly type of man, manly man?
How would you describe yourself? A brunette?
I only use the finest products to keep my dew.
Not brown haired, I'm a brunette.
My soft locks brings everyone in.
Okay.
That's what it's called, okay? If you have
Yes,
brown
I know,
hair,
I know,
you're a
I know.
brunette.
Yeah.
I mean, brunette
Anyway.
does mean brown haired woman.
Yeah.
Well, okay, what's the word for brown-haired man?
Brown-haired
Smartass.
man. One could even say, call me.
What's the word for brown-haired regular guy? Any movie star.
He looks like
Yep.
Tom Cruise.
There you go.
Yes.
Also Matt Damon. Also most action video game heroes.
He looks a little bit like the overly manly man meme,
Nice.
only with more beard and less mustache.
Looks a little bit like Sig from Full Metal.
Yeah.
Nice. Muscle Bros.
Okay, so I imagine I've seen sawmills before, but is there anything that stands out, like as, like something that might be conducive to the word I'm looking for, escapes me.
But there are no people strapped to the logs, if that's what you're asking.
No.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Don't wear skin mask though.
But so, like, I'm guessing more kind of like the feng shui of the place. Like, if abductions were to happen by otherworldly beings, it would happen.
Are you gonna okay? Roll me a check for that.
Roll a perception check. It's at the bottom.
Going to the mill, I would tell everyone about my findings. We are dealing with the supernatural, so definitely incorporeal creature by the description of it, some kind of incorporeal beings.
I go talk to the husband.
Well,
It's not the husband.
Or the
Yeah.
owner. Sorry.
You all made this weird
I got confused.
assumption.
I got
He's not the
confused.
husband,
I
he's the
got
owner.
confused.
I feel like I should make them married.
No, too late. Too
To
late.
increase the drama.
It's a weird relationship where people think they're married, but they're definitely not.
My wife
So-
/ employee.
I had to fire her the other day. It was very awkward.
I'll see you at home.
Fuck. Anyway, if we can even afford it anymore.
We're sleeping on the couch.
but yes, we talked with him and we asked about the details where she disappeared and so on.
Okay, you got to start this conversation because he's just coming out of his office, and I got to prepare to
Dibs.
do his voice because I got to do the baritone.
All right, well, he's coming out of his office, and he's Manly Man, so Manly Man in armor will go up talk to him first. And let's see. Aiden walks up. He's like, hey there, friend. Mind if we have a chat with you real quick?
Who the hell are you?
We're the people hired to figure out about all this disappearances.
Ah, you must have been the folks Jesse called in.
Yep. We heard Abigail was the most recent person to go missing.
Oh, yes, Abigail. Abigail's a good worker. Fine woman. It's a damn shame she went missing. I don't know what to tell you about all this, is other than I hope you can find something out about it.
Were you witness to anything that day, or was it just...
When did you notice that she is missing?
Well, when she didn't show up for work yesterday.
So you had no idea until the next day?
Well, she was here yesterday, and she went home, and as far as I know, and she didn't show up yesterday morning. So I had some of the boys look around for her at a house, and that's when we told Jesse about it. Jesse couldn't find her.
Does she live alone?
Hmm?
Does she live alone?
Far as I know, she ain't married.
Damn shame. Inappropriate work relationships. So,
If you want to make sense,
I was going to say, can I make a sense motive to see if he's keeping anything from us?
I will aid him, so he get a aid another bonus.
Okay.
Oh, natural 20!
Damn it, I got an 18.
But
Okay, so the three of you gang up on Brody Broadshoulder.
Well,
That's minus 25 with the favorite enemy bonus.
So the three of you gave up on Body Broad shoulders.
Since he's like, well, as far as I know, she lives alone. She left and went home on herself. And Aiden's like, really? And he like kind of looking for clues that he's lying. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes over and he's like, motherfucker, what the fuck?
He just like teleports behind him.
He just starts dogging from right behind Aiden.
I could picture this. So there was the money-man Paladin, the gentleman in a fine suit, and many man.
So you're Aiden, because Aiden's the one who the rest of you are aiding Aiden. Is how I'm ruling this.
Okay.
Aiding Aiden with the aiding and the aiding.
Yes.
Aid.
At the AIDS conference.
Cool. I'll be. Hold on. Pause for just a second.
So, all right. So you're talking to Brody Broadshoulders, and
Yes.
He mentions that I've forgotten her name,
Abigail.
Abigail, and that Abigail went home by herself, and this is where you sort of get suspicious of the conversation. You feel like he's definitely withholding some information about Abigail.
Okay. Is there any detail of what we? No, probably not. Just withholding something.
Well, for that natural 20, I'll give you. You think maybe Brody and Abigail are involved?
All right. Well,
I guess Guy can push the
we're just gonna try to be nice at first.
Yeah. You guys can jump into this conversation whenever. Just try not to talk over each other.
I was gonna. Okay. Is there anything else we should know about Abigail that might be helpful?
Nothing important, I don't think. I really hope y'all can find her. I've been looking everywhere.
Mr. Brody, you seem quite attached to Miss Abigail. Are you sure that she has such few social interactions as you say she does?
Yeah.
Well, I never said she was unfriendly. She's a fantastic employee. She's been working here most of her life.
Maybe you happen to know, did she reach her house safely?
Last I known. I mean, no, not exactly. There's not telephones or shit.
I sent her a carrier pigeon, but I don't actually have a carrier pigeon, so I just tied a note to a bird and hoped it got there.
I was asking it very inconspicuously if you happen to accompany her home.
No, she goes home by herself. At the end of the day, there's a certain amount of paperwork I have to fill out. Purchase orders.
Okay.
Do you know which?
I am not that good at diplomacy. However, Aiden sort of squares his shoulders and gets a little up in his face and says, his name's Mr. Brody, you said?
Brody.
Okay. Mr. Brody, as a paladin, I do believe I should inform you that withholding information is considered an act of evil.
You're not a fucking police officer.
No, I know.
Yes, he is. That's his class.
No, but this is a hick, or a guy from a hick town for the most part.
Oh, so you're lying to him.
Not lying. I am intimidating.
Okay.
Because as far as he knows about paladins, they kill evil.
Mm-hmm.
Out game question for the Paladin code you follow, is lying in that code?
No,
Nope.
It's not.
Haha.
This is well within the realm of being a dick, but it's not evil.
Yeah. And so that would be an intimidate check, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that is holy shit. That's a rolled 17 plus my intimidate score of plus 10.
Okay, so 27.
Mm-hmm.
So Brody sort of gets like real uncomfortable and wide-eyed as you're walking up on him, and he looks at your sword, and he looks at you, and he looks at your sword, and he looks at you, and he looks at
my armadillo, and that's what sets him off.
he looks at your armadillo, and Lila just freaks him out because he doesn't know what the fuck that thing is.
Rodents!
What the fuck is that?
Gets on top of a chair and screams.
27 intimidate on the poor villager. He just drops it in his pants. No.
I'm tripping over it.
We're about to listen to combat joke here.
What do you want? I ain't telling no lie. Or I ain't seen. God damn it! I forgot her name again.
Abigail.
Abigail. I ain't seen. I ain't seen Abigail. I ain't seen. She went home on her own, and I ain't. Please, I need you.
Aiden claps a hand on his shoulder, and a surge of power drops him from his panicked state. Because that's my mercy.
Okay.
And Aiden says, "Slow it down, Mr. Brody. Just let us know."
What exactly do you want to know?
Is there anything you can tell us that would let us know about her daily schedule?
Well,
anything.
And he gets like close enough to whisper to you, Aiden.
Okay.
He says, "Well, me and Abigail, we may have been seeing each other for a time now, and I know, where she lives. It's not a secret. It's a small town, but I see her most, every day, and
damn it! Just
night.
hang on.
Well, I guess we're waiting now."
Okay, go.
And I seen her most, every day and every night, and I was filling out some paperwork last night, and she left on her own back to her house, and she lives on the west side of town, and I didn't see her when I got up to her house. There was no lights on, and she weren't in the house, and
was the door still locked?
No, but I can't think anyone in town would have done nothing to her. Aiden can Abigail can lump up most of the toughest men in this town by herself.
So I'm guessing there was no sign of a fight in there.
There weren't so much as a bed sheet unturned.
So how much time did it pass until you noticed that she's missing?
Between him like filling out paperwork and getting to her house, maybe like 3 or 4 hours passed.
Okay.
Pretty big time frame, but at least we can mostly tell that she got. Well, if the door was unlocked, there's a decent chance she got taken from the home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Mr. Brody. That's about all we need for now.
Okay.
Please,
Yeah, so,
she ain't been gone that long. If there's any chance you can find her,
We'll do our best.
yeah, that's what we are called for here.
thank you.
Don't worry, the fantasy police are on the job.
I would assume I would hear most of the conversation.
Yeah, anyone with a passive perception of 20 or higher, so that's everyone but Magnus.
Yup.
Yeah, you catch most if not all of that conversation.
I'm gonna roll a perception check, actually. Yeah, never mind. I would catch it. 10 plus 2 says, "Fuck you, Tommy."
Everyone's just like standing there nodding, and Magnus is like, "What?"
Gives up on listening and goes back to tracing the runes on his hammer.
Staring at his own hand.
He is incredibly involved in that hammer.
Yep.
I have an idea. Let's check Ms. Abigail place to see what signs is at the place. Was this a sneaking job? Lockpick the door, go in, and then whatever creature use their charms on Ms. Abigail.
Alright, definitely. Her house is the next place we should check.
All right.
Does the estate also to the west of town as well?
Real quick, I do not have knowledge religion because chosen one.
So have your familiar roll it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Layla's gonna roll that shit. 13.
I will aid you, so you get a 800 bonus for that.
Is that 30? 13 plus 17?
What?
You said 13 plus 17?
Oh no! Plus, I was muttering to myself. I said total is probably 17
Oh, okay.
because she has knowledge religion, but she's still like a level 5 familiar.
Okay. And what kind of voice does Layla have?
The best.
Just a squeaky
Oh
falsetto?
shit! I was gonna say it's like what you would imagine an angel would have, but she's a fucking armadillo, so it's probably put through a chipmunk atomizer.
So, yeah, cartoonish falsetto.
So you have a 19 with me aiding it.
Okay. What do you want to know?
The frickin' critter and Victor compare notes, and basically seeing if there's anything against. Well, could I use knowledge religion to identify what sorts of creatures have that? Like, I know out of character exactly what kind of creatures could cause that, but
Okay, so 19, the kind of creatures that could, like abduct people?
that can, like, I would say magically seduce or encourage to go with them. So that's what I'm getting at.
Different creatures that could inspire a person to obey their wills, but vampire is probably the first thing that comes to mind.
Aiden goes, sweet, I can kill it!
Question. What type of vampire is this? Is this the attractive vampire are we dealing with, or the ugly kind?
Doesn't matter.
How the hell should I know? I'm an armadillo.
It is an important.
Yeah.
If you swing that way, the Paladin may have more work.
The important question is if it's pretty, I'm going to kill it. If it's ugly, I'm going to use all of my power to make sure it's going to be dead quickly.
I'm a paladin, I have light magic, and I have a big-ass sword. It gon' die. If it's vampire.
Well, all vampires, to your knowledge, have the ability to Layla's knowledge, have the ability to dominate the weak-willed.
Any of them can make themselves look like shades or something.
What?
Like any of those vampires can have the ability to make themselves look like shadows.
Anyone can make me an intelligence or wisdom check, whichever's higher.
None for me.
What do you mean? Knowledge check?
Yeah, just a strict ability check.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, 14 then.
Nope. Aiden drools a little.
Whoo!
I got so low.
Guy definitely realizes that shades in the darkness could definitely just be creatures in the distance.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily incorporeal or magical. They could have just been difficult to see.
Guy will point this out.
Or very fast.
They are a silhouette or moving too fast to actually be seen as creatures existing in them.
Well, I kind of have a little bit of a
For that
plan.
19 Guy, I will also give you. You realize you remember now. It's kind of been bouncing around in the back of your head. The guild that cab driver belongs to is called the Crimson Caravan.
Yes.
We'll have to go grab Cassie. I hear she's drowning her sorrows at a crappy tavern somewhere.
Wait, what?
It's a Fallout reference.
Oh, Cass, yeah.
Oh,
Rose, Sharon, Cassie.
I know the reference you mean.
I love Cass. Anyway, I kind of have a bit of a plan. Depends on what time of day it is right now. It's about
Yeah,
5,
how long
6.
until dark?
5 or 6. The sun
Okay,
is
so-
starting to go down.
Magnus is
All
probably
right,
just
so we
gonna
don't-
head straight west.
I want to mention something. We should finish investigating before it gets dark. Someone needs to watch the sheriff.
Well, what I was going to say was, Kane, we know exactly how many people have gone missing, right? How many?
About a dozen.
And there's not that many people left that fit the description.
Yeah, there's maybe like 6 to 8 blonde women left in the city.
Okay, so we'd have to go either talk to Jesse or check through the records, find out how many people are left that fit the description and how often the abductions happen. If it's semi-often, like every couple of days,
Yeah,
then
more often. A dozen people in 2 weeks.
yeah, that's pretty freaking often. So
Let me double check what Victor got for his research.
It was 17, 23, 21.
21, and I only answered 2 questions for you. So, for your third result, you come across some records from about 16 years ago that detail the disappearance of roughly a dozen or so people. They don't match the descriptions of what's happening now. Like, they weren't all blonde women, but it was a similar number of people, and they disappeared in a similar manner. They were there seemingly one moment and gone the next. No signs of a struggle, no blood.
In between the 16 years difference, there were no other disappearances like this?
Not like this. And certainly not in the same kind of numbers.
Okay, this is a repeat. Would it be a safe assumption this is like a repeat performance cycle for this creature to do this?
It's similar enough to what's happening now to seem it would be irresponsible to consider it a coincidence.
Well then, my plan was to as much as I hate this, have us all split up around town and kind of stand watch around these people's homes.
Okay,
Because I imagine that between all of us, we could probably do that, since those are hereditary traits. There are probably at least a few of them that are related, living in the same area.
a question: the people that went missing, did they have the same name as the current people that went missing?
No. The
only similarity is
the correlation between the disappearance a decade and a half ago and the ones that are happening now is the manner in which they occurred.
So, can Victor tell who was the last one vanishing? Basically,
That was Abigail.
how did that time 16 years ago? Because
Yes.
they stopped at some point. Why did they take someone specific?
A little over a dozen people disappeared 16 years ago, and make me whatever your highest mental score is. Check, Donald.
Okay.
For charisma.
Yeah. So mental stat, that would be Arcana for me. So
No.
skill, that's a skill.
Ability score, Donald.
it would be charisma then for me.
just- Yeah, do it up.
Save DC
Okay,
10 plus
23
half
total.
level plus knowledge arcana. Can you imagine?
Yeah, 20. So what do I
Jesus
get with my fantastic charisma of total 23 with my modifier in there?
23.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm just not with it today. What was the question I was literally about to answer?
Who was the last person to go missing? Was there any specifics?
The last person
got
missing.
16 years ago.
The 16 years ago, you make a couple of correlations based upon the data. 16 years ago, they took roughly 10% of the city's population.
Jeez.
At the time, that's the most of it. Is they stopped at like a number of people went missing and then it stopped and
Just dead, like out of
so,
nowhere.
yeah, sort of the only correlation you get out of this data is that a percentage of the town went missing.
Okay. Yeah, if we assume that was a vampire, it may be that it just took as much as he think will be fine, and then left the rest so that they regrow, kind of like a herd.
That makes sense to you.
So we can be reasonably certain that there is still going to be another abduction or two at least.
There's probably 200 or 300 people in this town now,
Yeah,
and
so
if
there's gonna be a
they're
few
at
more.
a little over a dozen abductions, there's if you're going off that data, there's going to be more.
What time of day is it?
It's coming up on 7 p.m.
So how
it's
about
super
we have...
dark out now, right? 'Cause you said
It's
the middle of
the sun is almost completely down.
Magnus
Okay,
is
so
gonna
let's-
walk out to the woods just to see what's.
So we know it's not Canada, because otherwise it would have been down for about 5 hours now.
Yeah.
Right, word. It would have been down since noon.
So again, I hate to split us up, but it seems like we might need to do that if we want to catch anything going on at once.
Yes.
So
Victor, if you know the general people who in the town who could still be targeted, I would suggest you, Guy, and Helyon because our other guy seems to have just gone off the fucking grid all of a sudden. May as well go around and see if you can keep an eye on them.
Yep.
I was going to go grab Jessie and see if she could lead me to any others, because that would let Aiden keep an eye on people as well as Jessie at the same time.
Yes, lead the paladin to all the blonde women.
Fuck yeah.
Well,
celibacy is not in my code.
I mean, that's fair. In Pathfinder, there's like 2 gods that demand you not have sex.
And they suck.
And there's like triple the amount of those gods that demand you have all the sex.
Yeah, that demand, like, they're like, you better fuck someone.
You bang the bush and you tell them a secret.
Yeah.
And as we all know, I don't know very much about my religion, so I can't take the risk that it's not one of those.
I don't need to mention Calistria boons, or one of Calistria obediences.
We'll get into those later.
Aiden
Sure.
learns what the Calistria obedience is and gets mad at Layla, being like, why couldn't you be an Archon of that?
Okay. So,
Okay.
night falls on the city.
Yes.
And tell me where around the city you're taking.
Okay. I'm going to do something like that. I'm going to head towards the sheriff's office, and when it looks like she has finished working, I'm going to cast alarm spell on the entrance to her house.
Okay, so that's like right here. It's just to the north of the
Yeah.
mountain.
So it should be on for like 4 hours. So, but if at that time anyone tries to use that door, I should know it no matter how far I am, as up to a mile away. So I'm not going to leave that far. And then I'm going to rather scouting the other places, checking if the people are there or if any of them went out of their houses, and
Okay.
then
Victor would check each of the people places to see if they're there, and make mental notes who is missing and who's not.
Okay, they don't all live in the same part of the city. So to
Hence the splitting.
expedite this, I want survival checks from Helyon.
Yeah.
I want perception checks from Victor. And what's Aiden doing?
Aiden is mostly doing a circuit of where he's suspecting they might come out of, with his Charles Manson flashlight going.
Okay, I want a perception check from you and a perception check from your familiar.
Ooh, right, Layla. Okay.
Guy, what are you doing?
Guy has probably just ignored what Aiden suggested, and
Oh, of course he did.
Yeah, and decided to go and find, because going west to go inspect the shades that have been seen in the west sounds far more productive than protecting
Magnus doesn't have to go. No.
short-lived.
Okay, so Guy and Magnus are going to go to the west together?
Yes.
Okay, so I want...
Even though Magnus is probably a bit faster than me, considering how slow Guy moves.
Whichever. I want either perception or survival checks.
Alrighty. Magnus's perception is a natural 20. The total is a 22. But
Can confirm.
Okay.
Yeah.
As he's walking around, Aiden gets a perception check of 4. I guess he got fucking distracted by one of the blonde ladies.
classic.
And and Layla,
Very
on the other
large
hand,
breastises.
fuck yeah. On the other hand, Layla got an 18. So,
He got a 27.
That seems very in character.
right?
and for me it's at least 23 because it's in urban terrain. Possible more with favorite enemy bonus.
Okay, so Guy, I suppose we'll start with Guy. I'll go from left to right as far as the city layout goes.
He's trying to with Magnus as like as much as possible because he's not like he's confident in his abilities, but he's not dumb enough to go out and face some horrible otherworldly creature by himself.
Yeah.
I made that mistake one time.
So Guy and Magnus, as you leave westwardly of the city, you cross through the patch of road that is just clear-cut forest, and as you enter into the bit of forest that is still standing, What was Magnus's? You said you got a natural 20?
+2 equals 22. Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
the best roll I could ever do.
Both of you spot figures off in that. Wait, which of you has dark vision and vision?
I have dark vision.
I have dark vision too.
You both have dark vision?
Yeah, Aasimar.
Aren't you human?
Race.
I'm not human.
Oh, what are you?
I am an Archon-blooded Aasimar.
Oh, you're both.
They're both angel bitches.
No, one of them's an Aasimar and the other one something
one's a
else
secret.
that I will not reveal.
Yeah,
Secret angel bitch. No.
close.
Okay.
Okay. So
Android?
in monochrome, both of you witness shapes sprinting like at high speed, faster than a human can run, through the trees, to your both to your left and right. They seem to be flanking the road.
Okay, do they seem to be flanking us?
No, they're running past you. They assume it's like they assume you don't see them.
Okay, well, I'm gonna cast Shocking Grasp and hold the charge, and then I'm gonna make an Intimidate check and just probably in Magnus's mind, I switch over from Common to Futhark at this point and just start shouting at them to come and fight me. It is a modified 20.
And Guy?
Guy probably moves behind Magnus and
Thanks.
cast Spanish.
Nope, too late.
He moves behind Kova's mother and casts Spanish.
In what language are you speaking in, Magnus?
Futhark, that's what they spoke in
Maggot.
fuck off. That's what they spoke a long time ago in Sweden on planet Earth, because that's where Magnus is from. I have learned a very
Okay.
dead language for flavor.
So you scream at them in Swedish.
Yeah, pretty much.
In Sweden.
He starts screaming IKEA furniture at them.
IKEA furniture!
a couple of the forms on both sides of the road stop because you're hollering into the darkness.
Mhm.
But they can't understand what you're saying,
Okay.
so they eventually continue sprinting through the woods towards the town.
Oh, I fucking wasted Spanish.
Someone thinks it's really funny. As they start running off, I'll switch to Common then.
Okay, so more westward. Who's towards the center of the town?
Probably me.
Okay, so Helyon, you're watching the center of the town-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, so, what was your perception?
I rolled survival. 21 plus 2 from urban terrain and possibly more from favorite enemy. It's in the chat.
Okay, so that's a 25 total. Don't read into what that means. You catch a couple figures running through some alleyways. You think, oh, maybe those are some kids. No, it's too late. It's too late for kids. Why would they be out this late? And as you're headed back towards you're headed down those alleyways to follow them, you hear your alarm spell go.
Okay, I immediately turn back towards and run towards the sheriff's office.
Okay, is the alarm spell just for you, or can you share with?
Yeah, it's just mental. But if it's only for me. I cannot share it with anyone else.
Okay.
I mean, Aiden was close to the sheriff's office.
No,
Yeah, but
you were on the east side of
Was I?
town with a bunch of blonde women.
Oh, yeah. I forget.
Or were you staying with the sheriff?
Well, because my whole thing was that Aiden was going to get the sheriff to investigate with him so he could keep an eye on her while also...
Okay, yeah, okay, fine. You're towards the center of town. The sheriff's idea was that you would stay towards the center of town because if something happens anywhere in the city, the center is closest to any one part.
That is a good idea.
So you're towards the center of the city. You see Helyon come sprinting through, I'm assuming, sprinting through the streets towards the sheriff's office, based upon the alarm spell he laid before that I will also assume he told you about.
Yeah, I would tell it, and if I notice him on my way, I would call him to come. Something's going on in Sheriff's place.
Okay, so Aiden sees him sprinting through the streets, screaming and waving his arms frantically. and
where's Victor?
I would be checking up on the blondies to see if they are in their home or not.
Okay,
checking
so
on
you're
them.
towards the majority of them. So you're towards the eastern side of town. Make me a perception check. It was 15.
Yes.
You faintly hear someone yelling in the distance
Okay.
towards the center of town.
Okay, I go to the center of the town. So Victor would have a lantern lit when he get to the center.
Okay, so you get to the sheriff's office, and the door has been burst inwards on the building. What do you guys want to do?
I'm rushing in. Just straight up.
Me too.
I would cast Mage Armor and Shield spell before going in.
Okay, I'm going to take that into note. List me your initiative modifier. Do not roll, just your initiative modifiers. Okay, so Helyon enters first. You see a pair of gray-skinned, vaguely purplish figures attacking Jessie. She has her sword drawn. You act. Go.
Can I tell what they are? I can try to identify them quickly.
Based upon your favorite enemy bonus, they're definitely undead.
Undead. I will draw my bow and I will be fighting with my bow. I draw my bow and start shooting if I can on this round.
Yes.
And
Right.
point blank, and possible point blank shot.
Yes. The office isn't that big.
Yeah.
I think I pointed out the building on the map before. Not including the spell, not including the cell, the area of this room is, sort of like 60, 70 feet across. You're definitely within range of point blank to fire into this creature.
Yeah. So that's 17 and 13.
Okay. So you draw your bow from your shoulder and loose an arrow. In one smooth motion, your arrow sails through the air and into the ribcage of creature, skewering it for how much damage? 13. Okay. Your arrow passes into the ribcage of the beast and drops it like a sack of potatoes.
Huzzah!
Okay.
It lets out an awful cry.
Oh, Jesus.
Alright.
That leaves one purple monster and Victor.
Okay, I am going to use Magic Missile on the
Sorry,
creature.
did you say purple?
Yes. Like
Okay, cool.
gray to purple.
No, I gotcha.
So I point my finger out. Die, vile monster. This is your last night alive. You are being ungentlemanlike here. And I will try to kill him with Magic Missile.
Okay. So you point your gentlemanly cane astride your stance at him as you crest the entranceway of the door, and 4 astral bolts of force erupt from the end of your cane and soar through the air, spelling your name in cursive, of course.
Yes, Victor. He is a very classy gentleman.
As they strike into the side of this gray-purple veiny beast and roll it across the floor. It's not quite dead, but it's not okay. Which brings us around to Jessie, who, sword drawn, runs across the room and decapitates it with her longsword.
Go GMPC.
Which is fantastic for the 1 hit point it had left.
Complete overkill. It erupts into gore.
We call that a meat blizzard.
Yup.
Okay.
Okay. So, and you're in this room, and this is right around the time Aiden shows up to enter in the door. He's very impressive. He's very shiny. He's completely useless.
Dun, 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 my work here is done.
There's 2 very nearly naked gray-purple humanoids on the floor of Jessie's office.
Okay.
She's a freaky girl.
Yeah. First asking Jesse, are you alright?
I think so. It's what are these things?
Let's see. And trying to investigate them closer to see.
I mean, I would call them ghouls.
I will.
You would call them ghouls. What would Aiden call them?
He would call them ghouls because he's level 5 and he's probably killed a few by now.
Okay, so yeah.
I'll give this to both Helyon and Aiden. These are ghouls.
Classic Kane.
Okay. Well, yeah. So yeah, they seem to be ghouls. Well, we suspected vampires for a moment, but no.
Remind me, ghouls have an evil aura, yes?
They do.
Okay. Let's get the Hitler flashlight back out and see if can I trace where they came from.
Not exactly how an aura works. Do you have?
Well,
Does you or Lillian have knowledge arcana?
Layla does, yes.
Layla. Okay, 14. So in combination with your detect evil and Lillian,
Layla.
God damn, I'm gonna write it down.
I mean, it's written down.
Layla. Not on my paper. It's not written down.
It's in the email.
I only have so many fucking tabs open, man.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay, between your detect evil and Layla's knowledge arcana, you can sort of trace back the origin of these creatures westward of town. It's almost yes, of course. It's almost like they came sprinting down through the main road and ducked into alleyways. But it's definitely coming down that road.
Well, all right. We have a lead.
Yeah. Although we need to check it, but this case seems different from the others. In the other cases, there was no sign of any struggle, and here they just bashed the door.
That is quite true.
A change of stalking habits. This is odd.
Well, it could either be a completely separate thing or it could be a desperation move.
Everyone give me a perception roll.
Very well.
Even the people who were out playing around in the woods missing the combat.
Yes, sir.
We did it! 6!
19.
13 free.
Okay, so both Guy and Helyon, you hear multiple disturbance to the north, to the east, to the south, and to the west.
Oh no!
Well, that's
shit. That was a distraction. Okay, I'm getting out and start going in one of those. Well, let's say north.
To the warhorse.
To the warhorse.
Okay. So I'm gonna. This is gonna be a special thing for the way I run game.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask everyone, to what quadrant of the city are you going?
Western Forest.
North.
I'm probably just gonna follow Guy, hear anything, and then suddenly he takes off.
They're moving very slowly.
Yeah.
Hobbles.
I didn't hear anything with the 19.
Yes, you. Sorry, everyone but Magnus heard what I just described.
Okay.
But Magnus is with Guy.
Okay, that's fine. Aiden goes warhorse. Where are the other two who are with me going? Whatever. I jump the warhorse and take off in the direction of the nearest.
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to go north, east, south, or west?
The office was where was the office located? Center?
It's center north.
Then north.
Okay.
I would accompany him, so go north.
Okay, so the three of us already. Okay.
Okay, Helyon, where are you going? You can go wherever you want.
Yeah. Okay. So if they are going north, I will try to go east.
Yeah, go east. We got nobody going that way.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going west. Okay, so go east.
East.
Tommy and Guy are going.
I believe the horse could carry another person.
If the horse can't carry a scrawny little kitsune, you need to get a refund on that horse.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a fucking warhorse. Just hop on the back hill.
Okay, cool. Because most saddles meant for one person only, so didn't know what type of saddle you have.
I mean, you can hop on the flank of the horse. It's not going to be super comfortable on your junk, but you can ride it.
Just get
That's what she
just
said.
get super close and put your arms around Aiden's waist. He won't make it weird. He'll make it super weird.
Okay, I make sure I have an arm around you, and not in the loving way. We will never ever talk about this ever again.
I'll see you at breakfast. Anyway.
Where the hell are we going, Joe?
I imagine I make a reference to the fact that there is a disturbance in the city and start making a leisurely pace back towards the city.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I'm going to note that as west.
Okay.
All right, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to end up in the northwestern quadrant of the city.
We probably just have a lot of hoofing to do before we get there,
Yeah,
though.
I mean, Magnus can run if he wishes, but he is really unconcerned with
It's super obvious that you can't keep up. I'm just gonna probably try to grab you.
Okay, so I have the quadrants of the city. It's about to get hairy. Victor and Aiden to the north. Guy and Magnus to the west. Helyon, lone sentinel to the east. The south of town is left to fend for itself.